I'm Jeremy Greer.
And I'm Gary Butterfield.
And this is Days of Future Cast, Gary versus Jeremy edition. Jeremy, still in the winning column, Gary. How does that keep happening? It's weird. We're just...
I haven't been doing super great. It's easy. It's easy to win against me right now.
Oh no! You're gonna make me feel bad for beating you up. Oh man!
It's extremely easy to win against me. I am the mutants in this scenario. There's like 190 of me left, and
there's 1,000 of
less
me
every day.
And there's
Jeremys are infinite. Crisis of Infinite Jeremys.
So many Jeremy variants, and they're all alligators. How does that keep happening?
Yeah, and I make out with all of them.
Oh,
well, that's because you're from the South. Of course, they're gators.
We got
gators are crawdads.
Got a little enemies to friends romance tag on AO3 about this podcast today. I see. Little enemies to lovers. Let's do this. All right. Okay.
Yeah, I'll fuck an alligator. I don't know what they want. An alligator can step on my neck. I
can tell you one
kids
thing.
Want to masturbate to.
They don't want you to fuck them. I can tell you the one thing an alligator does not want is for you to fuck them. That's for sure.
Well, how come they keep giving me those come hither eyes? They're always just like, hey, let's party. That's an alligator's face.
Told you many times. That just means hungry. You gotta learn to. Okay. You gotta learn to adapt, dude.
Yeah, there's different kinds of hungry. Eventually, in my 41st year, I hope to learn the difference between hunger and thirst. Yeah. So we this issue is cover. We got a big fight scene that's going to be on the cover of all of these.
Yep.
And this one is drawn by John Romita Jr., but this script is by Jason Aaron, not Brian Michael Bendis. Mm-hmm. So the different writers, I don't know if we ever talked about that, but the story was written by a lot of people who are going to rotate. Jason Aaron, Brian Michael Bendis, Ed Brubaker, Jonathan Hickman, and Matt Fraction.
Yeah.
Which are, really good stable of Marvel, like very solid writers.
Yeah. If they can't make a good crossover, we should stop doing crossovers.
Yeah, it's not Tom King and Al Ewing or whatever, but these are still good, really good writers.
Mm-hmm.
And we're picking up basically right where we left off.
Yeah,
Avengers Assemble. It's also where we left off the last issue,
and several issues before that. So we've been on this fight for a while.
This, actually,
our roster has filled out a little bit on the X-Men side.
Oh yeah.
So I actually like that they do this and show you like who it is, so you can kind of refer back, because like some of these X-Men, dude, like Madison Jeffries. What?
I know Madison Jeffries. That's Box from Alpha Flight, my man.
See,
I thought you were going to bring up Surge or Loa.
Well, Surge and Loa were definitely on the list as well, but like there's definitely just an idea of like, oh, there's a bunch of people, but there's some mutants around that I am not familiar with in the list.
Is my eyes are going because I'm old. Is one of these characters named Velcro Dad?
I think that says Velcro Chad.
That's not better.
No, I'm kidding. That's Velocidad.
Oh,
which I assume is a guy that turns into a daddy T-Rex. I don't know who that
is. Something with a fast dad.
Yeah, I don't. Dude, we gotta hit the Marvel wiki. We gotta do it.
Yeah. I must know who Velcro Dad is. Fuck.
Well, it is. It's a fucking high-speed internet provider in fucking some Spanish country. So let me go Velocidad X-Men and see what we can come up with.
Of course it is.
You
download the Velocidad.
He's from Mexico.
El Velocidad.
Let's see what kind of powers he has. Origin, wealthy parents. Since Psylocke is involved, what's his actual powers?
He's got to be quick.
Creators,
he's not quick. I'm gonna be furious.
5 lights, regeneration. What the fuck is his powers?
Well, he doesn't show up in this issue either, other than standing around. So we just wait until we reveal it naturally.
Okay, so localized time manipulation. And then there's a shot of a panel from a comic book where he's trying to run on water, and then he falls into the water. And it says, Gabriel discovered he is a time manipulator, not a speedster.
Oh. they got my number.
Props for
he
that.
Could change his name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that they're showing this stuff, because these are, the art is John Romita Jr., who is stylized. Not everyone's gonna be recognizable just from their face, in here, and they're a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah.
We start off, the X-Men are watching the Avengers, and basically debating the wisdom of what Scott has just done by hitting Captain America with his blast. people are chiding him, like, what do we do? We have to be careful at this point. And he's making his point that, like, what do you mean, what have I done? Like, they came here looking for a fight. They brought a fucking helicarrier.
Yeah.
Like, you don't show up here to talk if you bring every Avenger and jets.
The jets are really just an insult at this point. Like, I mean,
totally.
Why would you bring jets if you just want to talk, or if you just, what I'm saying? Like, it just proves Cyclops' point to, and again, I'm on Team Cyclops throughout all of this. I think I mentioned that in a previous episode, but so far, like, Captain America is just being a dick right now.
Yeah, it's interesting the way the narrative frames this, because it's everyone's just like, what's Scott thinking? There are kids there, and I'm like, you guys are doing it.
Yeah.
Like you can't set fire to a school and be like, hey, do this thing we want, or we'll set fire to your school. The person doesn't do it, and then you set fire to the school and say, what are they thinking? There are kids there. No, like, you set fire to the school. Like, you're the one attacking a school.
Yeah.
Avengers, like, this shit's silly. I hope that when I read the lead up stuff to this, it's a little bit more set up why they don't just, like, have a chat. It really does feel like they should have sent Storm initially just to talk.
Yes, absolutely.
I
mean, that would be, and I think that gets brought up in this issue with her and T'Challa, of like, we could have just had the fucking conversation. Like, we have a therapist.
Yeah, we have a marriage counselor.
Yeah, so fucking Captain America releases the jets, and then, of course, Avengers assemble. But the first thing that really happens is Magneto does a little magnetic fastball special and sends Juggernaut equipped Juggerlossus into the shield carrier, which, it's going to crash. You made this joke in the last episode, and, like, they make it right here too. It's like, he's going to crash the helicarrier. I knew they were going to do that. That's all these things do, is crash. So
constantly crashing. I really like this character, and this in an episode or issue we're talking about next time as well. This version of Colossus, I'm pretty interested in.
Me too.
That's like having this evil god.
Yeah.
Riding him, like, and he comes up and he's like very understated, like, you should not have come here, and just starts smashing everything. Of course, Red Hulk has to fuck it up and show off, because Red Hulk fucking sucks. And they start fighting, and it crashes the entire helicarrier. All the Avengers just, like, sprinkle into the ocean.
They the narration of this does this thing constantly throughout this issue, where it's just underlining how powerful and how much of a big deal this fight is. And it starts here with the, windows shatter miles away. The San Andreas fault shudders with each blow. And I'm like, if you're guys fucking with the fault lines, like, can you not? Can we just, can we maybe, like, agree to have this fight off planet? Maybe, like, can we go to, I mean, all of us could go to space, right? Like, we could all do that if we wanted to.
Yeah. This is a pretty powerful anti-Avengers argument. This whole bit, like, if the Avengers are literally causing earthquakes and shit when they go and try to kidnap a kid, this has some real no more Avengers. Scarlet Witch had some reasonable points.
Exactly. Scarlet Witch had some wrong targets is my new t-shirt.
Yeah. She tried to take out the Avengers before she did the mutants thing.
Oh yeah, that's
what
true.
Avengers Disassembled is, it was to punish the Avengers for, like, basically being short-sighted assholes. Also written by Brian Bendis, who then just turned out and made the Avengers be short-sighted. Not that we're going to, like, have a subplot where they go to the trench and causes earthquakes and shit, but the narration's a little over the top.
Exactly.
In the ocean, Thing and Namor face off initially. They have a history.
They hear the punch all the way in Oakland.
Yeah.
Where is Utopia again?
It's in San Francisco.
Okay.
That's the equivalent of saying, like, if I punched you at your house and they said that they heard it in Lafayette.
Yeah. It's like 15 miles away, which is how hard.
Yeah, I guess it's hard for a punch, but, like, I don't know if it's narration hard.
Exactly.
Like, Oakland is a suburb of San Francisco. Somebody's going to get mad at me about that. Like, Boots Riley's going to bring the coup to my house and guarantee me for that. But get
him to sign my Black Panther poster before he excises you.
Oh yeah, dude. Like, I also want to kill my landlord. I know there are 50,000 ways to kill a CEO. So Luke Cage comes up and punches Namor, which seems like that wouldn't work out that well. I feel like that's somebody picking a fight outside their power class, but I could be wrong.
Or not as even necessarily power class, but just like the the wrong environment to fight in. Like, I feel like Luke Cage isn't a water guy, is all I'm saying. Like,
no, I think so. The rest of the team that can fly are coming in, and I love this little panel of Cyclops like shaking his head back really fast to laser everybody.
Yes, super good.
Like three-faced Cyclops. Yeah. You know, he's like is Hope safe? Like Storm, take out those jets, like trying to be a leader when Captain America's shield cronks him on the head, and the narration says the first of today's many concussions.
It's very funny to me. And then we get like this lineup of Avengers going to the beach, and Captain America says, "Take the beach." And this up close shot of Cyclops with his visor bent in, which is also very amusing to me for some reason, says, "Drive them back into the sea." And then we get like the literal fight scene, like where they're rushing towards each other in like classic comic book cover fashion. And then we shift to the perspective of all of the kids that are on Utopia, saying like, "Holy shit, this is happening! I can't imagine that this is I just can't believe this is. Should we go down there?" And Emma Frost is dragging Hope in because this is where Hope is going to be safe, and she tells the kids like, "Hey, keep her here no matter what she says. You guys stay here no matter what you see happening, and we'll come back and get you in just a little while."
Yeah, I like the way the kids react, like where they're like, "Shit, are we under arrest? There's Avengers here."
Yeah,
like that's no good. You know, like what do we do? The cops. After she drops her off, she comes down and she's like, "I'm going to psychically dismantle the Avengers," but Iron Man had a plan. He blasted several $1 trillion worth of microscopic telepathic tasers into her. So when she tries to use her psychic powers, it hurts. She, of course, diamonds up, and they start fighting.
Yes. She punches him in the stomach for the most expensive punch in history, according to the narration, which is very funny to me. And it's kind of back and forth until, of course, Magneto shows up to fight the guy in an iron suit, which I feel like they planned for this, right? Like they were like, "Oh, like this is an obvious fight that wouldn't work because he's in an iron suit." But you know, Tony Stark always has plans. But before we see that, we see like this being covered on the news, like the news people have a fucking camera on Utopia, and we see
those are CNN jets.
Yeah, exactly, on the Shield plane. And we see Quicksilver like, "Hey," talking to somebody saying, "Hey, like we should go get involved. Like you should come with me." Obviously, probably talking to Scarlet Witch.
One of the things I like, and we'll talk about these issues later, is the actual fight between these two does get expanded in the hilariously titled Avengers versus X-Men versus, which is a horrible name for a comic and is just fights. And we'll be talking about that next episode. But we get to see more of this fight, which there is like, you know, characterization and stuff that happens in it. It's not purely banging action figures together. But I kind of like that idea of like, let's expand out the action in these with maybe an artist that is better suited to this scale. You know, I can get down with that. I was surprised by liking that comic because I think it was the stupidest thing in the world. I think
it is the stupidest thing in the world, but it owns it, and it just knows what it is, and it's like, no, if you just want to see these two guys fight, and like we are literally going to pronounce a winner at the end of the fight scene, like we're going to put it in text. This is for you. Like this is what you need, and that's kind of cool. Like I'm into that.
It's kind of non-ironic version of the Avengers versus Ecstatics.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know?
Like, you're just going to do it?
Okay, cool.
Like, there's no joke? What's the show? There's also a joke in that where Namor is fighting the Thing, and Namor says, "I propose," and is about to say something, and the Thing thinks, "When are you going to learn that none of the Fantastic Four are going to marry you?" Which I like that quite a bit. Quicksilver comes and punches Magneto. Does not take him out of the fight, but he's joined up with the Avengers here back in his classic green thing. I love this cutting to Scarlet Witch, who's watching. She's writing in her dream journal and just has a big picture of the Phoenix and says, "This is how the world ends."
Perfect.
You know, she's still in spooky mode.
Yeah.
And seeing scary shit.
Meanwhile, we get like a bunch of people fighting a bunch of other people. Domino is kind of commenting that, like, can't believe Wolverine's fighting against his own damn people. Wolverine is like, you guys have your head up Cyclops' ass. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. And then, like, Sunspot is like, go to hell, traitor. Like, this is all over the map at this point. And we get the conversation that we talked about earlier with Storm and T'Challa of, him saying, like, you should have told me you were harboring a 16-year-old girl. And I'm like, hey, no. We could have had this conversation. Like, you could have told me that you guys were going to attack us. Like, this is fucking crazy.
And you realize the X, I have an X in my uniform. Like, you realize, like, yes, I'm an Avenger, but also I have a vested interest in X-Men shit. You know, you don't just get to like attack them without giving me a heads up.
Yeah, it's this kind of stuff that feels like a little contrived. But also, okay, whatever. Like, I mean, the Avengers are fighting the X-Men. Everything is going to be contrived.
We cut over to Hope, who is watching, who is like, you know, we have to stop this. You know, they're here after me, and her classmates are like, you know, these are the Avengers out there. We should let the big guns handle it. And she says, if the Avengers are going to war with the X-Men, that means I must be the biggest gun that there is. You know, which is a great line. Like, that is cool. She's going to escape. We go back to the fight with Cyclops versus Captain America going through, where he's basically just kind of pinning him down on his shield here. You know, this happened a lot in the Black Widow movie as well, when she was fighting Taskmaster and it looked like she was just shooting him in the shield.
Just aiming for the shield specifically, as opposed to aiming, letting him block a shot with the shield. Yeah.
Like, yeah, why doesn't Cyclops look down a little bit? You know? It just seems like that would take care of it.
Shoot the dirt in front of him, but and run over there and crack him in the jaw. I don't know.
Yeah, give him a kick. So they're just having this argument. Basically, you know, you're being a fascist. You're being an idiot. You know, this situation is really bad. You should, so while you're probably enough to see this, you know what the Phoenix is and what Jean is. And he's like, yeah, don't talk about my dead fucking wife. Like, you don't know anything about this. Like, we are the experts on this. You should have come to me rather than consulting with Wolverine. We call it the lunatic fringe.
That's fair. I don't know why I'm amused by that so much. But eventually Captain America is able to power through these beams and knock him the fuck out. So Cyclops goes down and we can see people fighting in the background. A lot of these pair-ups, I think, are, you know, we talked about that Avengers versus X-Men versus book. I'm wondering how many of those, like, I don't know, Spider-Woman versus Psylocke seems like it'd be kind of fun. You know what I'm saying? Like, I actually do kind of want to see that. Like, the comic book fan of me is like...
The writers on those books are really fun, too. Like, it's like Dan Slott and shit. Like, I'm kind of in. Those will be fun to me. I would like to see these pair-ups. As this is going, we're getting our narration kind of previewing a bunch of these pair-ups, I feel like. You know, we get Hulk versus Colossus. We get the Thing versus Namor. You know, even though the cover too, I think the second one is Gambit versus Captain America.
It's very funny to me.
Which I fucking love, man. Like, Gambit's got to win that. If Gambit wins that, I'll lose my fucking mind.
Imagine. I mean, forever. It's good. Every time you would meet Captain America, like, that time that Gambit beat you up, huh? I was like, shut up, that didn't happen.
Or like, you know, at the end of Civil War when the reporter's talking to Captain America and the way she gets the moral one up on him is being like, do you even know what a MySpace is? You don't know what America's like anymore. It would be like that, but Gambit being like, do you even know what a Tinder is? If you do not go on Hinge, you do not understand America.
Gambit on farmers only. Share.
Gambit on Thieves only. Yes, Tesson's not allowed.
Autumn and I were watching a show called Making It. Have you heard of the show? It's with Amy Poehler and Nick Offerman, and they do
good cast.
Oh yeah, like it's and it's like a reality show, like it's you know, crafting and all that stuff, and it's like way over the moon wholesome. Like the first couple of seasons were like, oh, this is very nice, and then like now post COVID, everybody has a super sad COVID story, and it's, you know, we're going to remember your contribution for the rest of our life. Like, it's a little too much in season 3. But there was a woman who's on the show who talked about like growing up with lesbian parents and getting made fun of it for school and like putting that into her craft and all this stuff. And like me and Autumn were just talking, it was like, do you think, like, because we make fun of farmers only a lot because I think it's just a very funny idea, but like I've never actually gone on the site. Like I wonder if like they're like have a really strong LGBTQ section where it's like a really nice, like wholesome, like, oh, like, yeah, if you're a lesbian farmer that wants to hang out with another lesbian farmer, like, I got you, farmersonly.com, like, we got this covered. So I don't know.
They might. I went down a hole once watching farmers only commercials.
Yeah, it's bad. It's not good.
Yeah. Well, they're weird. Like, it's mostly about a cow who has a vested interest in getting its owner laid. It's like the two farmers meet and they're talking about how like the moon sure is pretty. Let's go have hay sex. And then the cow looks at the camera and is like, "That's why you should go to Farmers Only." And I'm like, man, I feel like a cow should not be that invested in me getting nut.
It's like that cow just hasn't figured out like where hamburger meat comes from yet. He's still very innocent. Does not know what he's there for. Like, well, milk. I mean, like, that seems fine. You guys seem okay. Yeah. Like, I'll make butter and ice cream. That seems totally normal. I mean, it's a little weird, like, but whatever. I'm all right with it. I don't know why I'm here. That's just for her.
You guys eat it? That's fucking weird. But yeah, maybe there's a good section for Farmers Only.
Yeah, I seriously doubt it. Like, I can't imagine that there is. But yeah,
I too doubt. They're basically still, Cyclops gets up to his hands and knees, and Captain America makes his final plea. Like, I didn't want this, Scott. You don't want this. Tell your people to stand down. Don't make us just take hope. And Scott's not going to give in. He has his, he's a planner. He does his gambit here where he's like, magic, give us a back door, to a teleport out. This was a trap. I love this scene. Where Doctor Strange follows her into limbo, because that's where she teleports through. And he's like, "Oh, tell me you didn't think that this would work." And she's like, "Oh no, I knew it would work. Like, I wanted you to come here." And we get this badass like demon magic.
This is fucking
here to fight Doctor Strange. That is, I would like to. That's going to be a good issue of that fight.
Yes,
comic if that ends up happening.
I'm a huge magic fan, and I like this whole design where she's got fucking horns and hooves and a sword, like an energy sword that is dripping energy. Fuck yeah, okay,
yeah,
yes.
Goat legs.
Is it metal? Yes, of course it is.
It's very exceedingly metal. Like, it's very good. Magic Princess of Hell is super cool. They're continuing to fight. Like, they're like, we just have to hold off long enough. We don't have to win this. Like, they're losing. The island defenses are failing. Tony Stark is hacking. And Cyclops gets upset because he realizes he lost Wolverine. Wolverine's sneaking in through one of his little, sewer grates. He brings Spider-Man for no particular reason.
Well, Spider-Man comes.
Spider-Man tags along.
Yeah. And he's like, I didn't invite you. He's like, yeah, you must have forgot. I'm here. Like, I feel like every Captain America, or not Captain America, Wolverine and Spider-Man team up, they are always in the sewers at one point. Like, I feel like that's every issue that I've read with those two.
Hang out there all the time.
And they're going to, he's going to try to find Hope, and we switch over to Hope, who is manifesting the Phoenix Force. She's on fire and has put down or knocked out all of the students in the room. And when Wolverine rushes her to do what Wolverine does to Phoenixes, she stops him, and this face drawing of Wolverine on the last panel of this page, Gary, is so weird. Dude, like, what?
That is some icon material right there.
Do you do you remember the Arrested Development bit? Like, look at the beak on that bird. Like, I can't stop staring at the beak on this bird, Gary.
It's incredible too, because the Wolverine right above it looks great. Like one panel up, like, oh, that's a pretty good Wolverine. This is an angle that Wolverine should never be drawn from.
No, not at all.
Just an absolutely incredible drawing. The Cyclops and Captain America bust in because they were looking for them, and I love this a little bit. We're gonna get more of this in the issues, but like, she's just taking everyone out, and her whole thing was like, everybody's wrong about me. Like, this isn't a bad thing. This is a good thing. Why does nobody trust me?
Yeah.
And runs out, dashes across the water. And, the fight here, like, neither of us get it. Yeah. Neither of us get Hope.
Much like superhero fights of the past, nobody really wins, nobody really loses. And we switch to the Deep Space team. You might remember that people were putting together a space team to go meet the Phoenix as it's on the way to Earth. So that's Beast and War Machine and Thor and female Thor. I don't know who the other chick is right there. Valkyrie. Yep. Vision, and some other people. Who cares? But they're the Phoenix.
Protector.
The Phoenix is upon them.
Yes. I think we're going to read about that in Secret Avengers.
Sure.
I think is the book, but we're going to definitely read about the space Avengers in this crossover, I'm sure.
I hope.
And that's the end of the issue. If you're just reading this miniseries, it's paced pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely.
They show up to fight. We get this big fight. They're going to move on. They're going to look for her and everything. It's just the crossovers that make this too slow.
Yeah.
But this is a fun and fine issue. Like I enjoyed it, moved the plot along just fine for a 12-issue miniseries.
And I think our main verses, right? Like our main disagreement between Captain America and Cyclops is still working for me. Like I think that this does feel like a gross invasion. Like I can kind of see Captain America's point, but also it feels like a gross invasion of these people's personal lives and privacy to just go over there and be like, hand me that girl. Like that's ridiculous, especially when you bring fucking jets. So I'm still very much enjoying it. Having like so many Avengers and so many X-Men involved like right at the gate seems like crazy to me. But at the same time, like that's what we're here to do. Like we're here to smash those people together. So
it's a little bit of a stunt, but it's a stunt that I'm okay with.
Exactly.
It's all well and good. I'm excited to read more. We've read ahead a little bit, and that was generally fun and good. And I hope everybody comes back for more of AVX next episode.
And you can go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv if you want to support the show directly and the network directly. There's tons and tons of shows that you should go check out. I can't imagine that you're here without listening to Watch Out for Fireballs or Bonfireside Chat or all of the big flagship podcasts on the network, but definitely go check all of those out. They're all great and for many different reasons. You can also leave ratings and reviews on various podcast services. Tell your friends moms, do all of that stuff. And then come back next week for more AVX and GVJ. You're not waiting on me to say anything, right?
I was totally waiting on you to say something. I didn't think you were back yet. Sorry, Jeremy.
Like I was making like clicking noises with my mouth. I was like, well, never mind.
I was only kind of paying attention. I couldn't hear the click.
Yeah,
I made a soda opening noise. I figured like that would signal like, hey.
Well, when I sat down, I looked at the waveform and I was like, oh, he's not back yet. He hasn't said anything, so I'll just wait until he gets back.
No, I just silly. No, well, good. Thank you for breaking the silence. I would have eventually. I promise.
I looked up and I was like, it's been 5 minutes. What the fuck?
Yeah, fuck. Yeah. No, I was just sitting here sipping my bubbly bounce.
That's fucking hilarious.